Welcome back to Canard Boulevard. My name is Scott. I am not flying an airplane, I'm driving motorhome. And this weekend I am taking my LSRI, which is my Light Sport Repairman Inspection Certificate class. And I'm not flying there. Coming up. So I am driving through back roads of Pennsylvania, just outside of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I'm on my way to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for this course. And I just had lunch with the lovely and talented Josh Slagle, who is the FAA Fast Team Safety Representative of the Year. I think I mentioned her on my Oshkosh video where I was there when she got that award. So my plan all along had been to fly out, because this is actually being held on the airport at the EAA hangar at Capital City Airport in Pennsylvania. However, the weather today sucks. We got low IFR, and in fact, Capital City is below minimums today, and it will be for most of the day. Low overcast with a mountain obscuration and fog and rain with a freezing level of only 4,500 feet with an MEA of 5,500 feet. So yeah, we're not flying in that. I was planning to fly out, stay at a hotel near the airport. However, now I am driving out in my old RV, and I'm just going to stay in the RV. I was going to say it saved me a few dollars, but actually it will cost way more in gas to haul this thing out there than it will to actually fly my plane out there. So by the end of this weekend, I should have my course completion certificate, which I can then use to get my FAA LSRI certificate, just to present it to my FSDO. And at that point, I can then do the annual condition inspection on my airplane. I got 4 more hours of driving ahead of me, and we'll check in once we get there. Here we are at the Love's truck stop. It was a long drive getting here. I got primo parking space here right next to the propane filling station. Got the generator going. Been sitting in here watching TV. Got the Starlink hooked up and running. Made myself dinner. We're about ready to pack it in for the night for our first class tomorrow morning. I don't have any homework or anything to do, obviously, because it's the first night. They did have us read up on some things ahead of time. The Rainbow Aviation folks sent out an email and said, hey, if you want to read ahead, here's some stuff that you could look at. So I already actually read all of that, so I'm pretty much ready to go. So I will be getting up tomorrow, I think about 6 a.m., get a shower. Off in the Love's. I always stay at the Love's truck stops because, well, first off, it's free. Secondly, they have good food, and they have nice clean showers and bathrooms. So we'll get up, have a shower, and head on over to the airport, which is only about 15 minutes from here. And that's all we got for tonight. See you in the morning. It's a rainy morning here at Love's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's now 6:52 in the morning. I've already been inside and had a shower inside the Love's, and had my breakfast and packed up the Starlink, which is going to be another video probably in the very near future. And about ready to go. So we're going to head over to the airport and hit the first day of the Rainbow Aviation LSRI course. Well, I'm here at the airport, and all I can say is mountain obscuration and fog. I am sure glad I did not fly out here this morning like I had actually thought about doing, because there is no way I'd be getting in here today. They got pretty high minimums coming in here. I think it's almost 800 or 900 feet, and there's just no chance I would have gotten in here today. But it is beautiful here with all the mountains. Lots of people here already. Here's the tower, and towers in the clouds on top of mountains. You know, I had wondered why the ILS minimums were so abnormally high coming into here, and now I know. So the space, the breakfast, and the presentation materials and everything was provided by EAA Chapter 122 that does this for no charge, although they take donations for the breakfast and food. So we all filed in and found a seat to start the class. That's the first day finished. I'm back at Love's. Just had finished having dinner. So my thoughts after the first day of the LSRI course. The instructor was very knowledgeable. He was also entertaining. He made some very dry topics and things like FAA regs and things, at least interesting, because he kept bringing up real world examples and his experiences and so on. It was material and curriculum peppered with stories from real life, which always makes a class that much more interesting. We did cover a fair bit. And it started out with a lot of like human factors and safety and regulations and kind of the dry stuff. And we're just now getting into the actual mechanics, safety wiring, bolts and hardware type, a lot of fundamentals of the aircraft and control systems balancing and so on. The curriculum matches exactly pretty much what I expected. There is no practical application of anything that we are learning. This is all classroom work. I think that this course would probably benefit from maybe a third day where you would go through and actually apply some of the things that we are learning, at least having an airplane to look at and do a simulated inspection on. Because when you're learning, it's one thing to sit and learn things by rote in a classroom, but when you actually then turn around and do what you've just learned, it sticks in your head a lot better. And a lot of people, that's how they learn. They need to be able to do it in order for them to learn it properly. And the other reason being that the range of experience and expertise in the class ranges drastically. Obviously, in this class, I'm one of the more knowledgeable people. There's a few of us who have done owner-assisted annuals before, so we've had the experience of doing inspections. So a lot of this is review. There was one guy in there who's an A&P. I'm not quite sure why he's taking this class, but we have with one A&P in the class. And then we've got people on the other end of the spectrum who are pre-private, working on their private certificate and are building an airplane, and they're nowhere near ready to be where they're going to be doing this type of inspection. And what's kind of scary is that they can finish this 2-day course and now they technically are certified to sign off on a condition inspection on an airplane. So I think that anyone that takes this course and thinks they're going to walk away after 2 days being fully qualified to do an inspection, a CI on an EAB, is deluding themselves. And they should definitely seek out some hands-on. Just find an A&P, and maybe the first time you do your CI, you do it and he supervises, just to get hands-on experience and to be able to maybe do things that you might not have remembered to do from the classroom. Anyway, so that's my impressions from the first day. We're going to go back tomorrow and hit the second day, and I'll tell you my thoughts after that. Seeing the morning sky. Finished our shower, got some food, something to drink. I spoke with Sarah, who is the bright and cheerful cashier here, who is just so happy this early in the morning. She's here every morning. Last day of the course. Gonna head on over, get some of the breakfast the EAA is providing for us, and get on day 2 of the course. Made it to the airport. It is definitely IFR today. Coming over here is even worse. It was probably about 1,000 feet visibility in fog. I wouldn't be flying in here today, not at least until this burns off. The minimums coming in here are, I think, 800 feet, so it's a little bit below that. Let's go have some breakfast from the EAA chapter here that supplies us with breakfast and lunch. Blackstone fired pancakes. Get deluxe breakfast here.
Well, that's not for you guys. No, we're doing it.
Yeah, I'm like...
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
All right.
For a while.
Morning. Morning. They did give us regular breaks every hour or so we could get up, stretch our legs, visit the bathroom. By the time the fog had lifted, a lot of people started gravitating outside to just get some fresh air and look around. If you looked across, you could see a museum where there was none other than an actual F-14 Tomcat sitting there. And if you looked a little bit to the left and zoomed in a bit, you can see there was also an A-10 Warthog sitting on the ground there. And that's not something you see every day. And that's it. I'm done. It is about 5 o'clock on the Sunday, and we had our second day of classwork and just wrote the exam, passed. And so I'm done. And I was going to hang out here till tomorrow, but I think I may just drive back tonight. It's a 5.5 hour drive, and it's just before 5, so that gets me home not too late. That was a fun course. I enjoyed it. The instructor was really good, and the content was reasonably practical. Like I said before, that probably would be better with some practical hands-on aspect of the training as well. But overall, the course material was relevant, and while I think I'm probably equipped to do inspections on my airplane, I don't know that I would be feeling competent to do it on someone else's airplane, so I would definitely want to do the LSRM course first in order to do that, which obviously then involves hands-on training, which is what I think maybe this course should also include. And that would probably make people who have less hands-on experience with their airplanes more confident in their ability to sign off their airplane at the end of their condition inspection. Next, I have to actually take my course completion certificate and bring it to my local FSDO to get the actual certificate. Apparently, the FAA does not have that process in place yet. I'll go over that in this video next once I get home. Then I drove home the 5.5, actually it was about 5 hours, 45 minutes, all the way back home to Cleveland.
2 weeks later.
Unfortunately, I don't have an ending for this video. The plan for the end of this video originally was for me to take the course completion certificate, go to the FSDO, and then go through the process to actually get my LSRI certificate. However, that hasn't happened because the FAA is an interminable bureaucracy. So yes, MOSAIC got announced in July at Oshkosh. It went into effect in October. However, the advisory circular that actually detailed what was going to be changed didn't come out until last month, till November 14th. And here's what that says. So this is Advisory Circular 6532 Bravo. And if we look at page 32, you can see where it's talking about the Light Sport Repairman Certificate training courses. Interestingly, if you look at 3.8.3.1, where it talks about the inspection rating training course, there's new text in there, and it says the FAA recommends these course hours to include at least 25% hands-on practical training to successfully train to proficiency. That wasn't in there before. It doesn't say it's required, it says it's recommended. And I'm actually really glad to see that in there because, as you've seen me already state several times in this video, I think it's critical. So if you have not received that hands-on training, like I suggested, go work with a CFI, get some of that hands-on training so that you have experience doing this and actually having your hands on the airplane and doing the things that you're going to have to be doing in order to do this inspection. Now, I've made those mentions about there not being hands-on training, and I don't want this to be taken as me slighting Rainbow Aviation at all. It's not their curriculum. The curriculum is actually very, very close because I had a look at what the FAA says should be in the curriculum, and Rainbow is pretty much designed right from that. So the curriculum that Rainbow presented in the course was excellent. It's dead on what the FAA is recommending, but now the FAA is also recommending that there be 25% hands-on, which I think is an excellent idea. And if that maybe bumps it up beyond 16 hours, because I mean, there was a lot of stuff to cram into 16 hours of classroom time. So maybe it needs to be 20 hours and the extra 4 hours is hands-on. I don't think that would be a bad thing. And even if it wasn't just an airplane, even if they just had some stuff, things in the classroom that you could get your hands on, sample safety wires, sample just an idea of what it is you're going to be looking at instead of the theoretical that we're talking about. Present it as, hey, here's what they want you to do, and here's what it looks like, and here's what you would actually have to do with your hands. You know, just something along those lines. Even just a prop that you could pass around the classroom. That would also be, I think, useful. So where are we with the certification of the FAA? Well, we are nowhere because the FAA can't do anything until the FSDO has the instructions in the dynamic regulatory system. And until it appears in the dynamic regulatory system, they're not allowed to do anything because that tells them how to issue the certificate. And if we have a look at what's in there now, which is, if you go to the FAA page for the dynamic regulatory system, it's 8900.1, Volume 5, Chapter 5, Section 6, Page 3, it will tell you exactly what they have to do in order to issue it. And if we have a look, it has the old text where it says that the certificate is limited to the ELSA that is owned by the certificate holder and will be identified by the class registration number and serial number on the repairman certificate. Well, that's obviously not the case now. And if that is the rules that they must go by, we can't go by that because that's not what the rules are anymore according to MOSAIC and according to AC 6532B. So, all we can do is wait for the slow-moving mechanism within the FAA to update the dynamic regulatory system with whatever text they're going to put in there that tells them how to issue these certificates and what it has to say and so on. Also, the 8610-3 form, which is the form you fill out every time you apply for a new certificate, it's actually the one that's online now, the one that they're using, expires at the end of this year, and apparently they have to change that. So at the same time as the DRS is getting updated, they'll be issuing a new 8610-3, according to what the FSDO told me today. I actually called the FSDO and asked the questions, and that's how I'm finding out about this now. So basically, we just have to sit on our hands and wait for the FAA to get their thumb out so that once that has taken effect, and it's in their DRS, and they've got notified that, hey, it's been updated in the DRS, then, and only then, can we call the FSDO, make an appointment, go in with our certificate of completion, and then apply for our LSRI certificate. So unfortunately, that's a rather dull ending to this video, but I have no idea when that's going to happen. We're a week almost into December already, and things are going to slow down for the holidays. I'll be surprised if it makes it in by the end of the year. If it does, I'll go get it done and maybe I'll do a short video on it. In the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions on this video, please leave them in the comments section below. And if you like this video, click like, subscribe. It really helps me out when you do that. I want to say thanks to Rainbow Aviation for putting on the course. It was a really, really well done course. Really enjoyed it, enjoyed the instructor, and the content and the presentation was just spot on. Really, really enjoyed it, and I'm seriously considering going back and doing the LSRM just because this was such a positive experience. Rainbow Aviation gets a thumbs up. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.